and corruption? Or would Professor Hamoy address that point as well?
Yung napansin namin, because we have been monitoring the procurement, no, of local and national agencies, no. Nakita namin na marami dun sa kunyari mga bidder, no, magkakamag-anak, no. Maraming kuminsan heads of, or at least key influential people in the agencies are related to the bidders. So, you know, they share the information, no? Medyo asymmetric, no? They share the information amongst themselves, no? To gain advantage. No?
So some kind of insider trading,
Yes,
which
may
may be
collusion,
collusion, which may be what my staff found nga on researching on those 15 flood control projects. So hindi lahat, pero karamihan, so majority ng lugar kung saan yung mga proyektong yun ay may, no? So it's not, we're not saying that there's causality, but there's that coincidence. But very notable coincidence, may fat dynasty, and several of these are not just fat, they're obese dynasties.
Kaya mahalaga po yung nabanggit kanina ni Chairman Garcia, yung definition talaga ng levels of consanguinity, dahil nakikita natin yung for instance yung paano kung kunyari common law, no, relationships, no, how do you deal them, paano yung mga kabit, no, paano yung mga anak, no.
Okay na yung common law na term. Thank you, Mr. Albia. Before I go on to Lente and our other civil society resource persons, I think Senator Amy has an interjection.
Yeah, pwede lang mag-comment. Eto nga, hindi ako nandito para maging apologist, para sa dynasty. Pagod na kami sa politika. Sa totoo lang, tuwing eleksyon, nagkakapilitan sa pamilya kung sinong tatakbo at talagang wala nang may gusto. But I appreciate your observation that in fact Filipinos are ambivalent about this notion of dynasties. And it's probably a reflection of a failure of government and the delivery of goods and services and the abject poverty in which many of our people live. But I'd like to shed the light on a certain province, for example, like Bataan. Sabihin na ng Fat Dynasty, sabihin na nating Thin Dynasty, nobody can argue that the development in Bataan through the Garcia family has been stunning and really incomparable to any other province. At siguro, kaya hindi na bebenta itong anti-dynasty, dahil sa mga lalawigan katulad ng Bataan, kung saan makikita yung wealth creation dun sa 4 na eco zones, the very aggressive job generation efforts of the entire family, and the really quite stunning development of the entire area, soon to be doubled or perhaps tripled by the Cavite-Bataan Bridge. So I think this is really the problem. There seems to be a sense sa Pilipinas, kaya nga nagkakaroon ng ambivalence na may kakilala ka, kilala mo na yung pamilya mo, kumbaga naging suki mo na, patronage na ulit. Yung sinasabi niyong capture, patronage yun kasi naging suki na ng pamilya nyo, yung pamilya nila, isa yung tatakbuhan, samantalang kapag yung bureaucracy ang tatakbuhan mo, wala kang mapapalaw, hindi mo naman kilala. So, nais ko lang ipakita yung Bataan andyan. Siyempre, bibidahin ko rin yung Ilocos Norte. We have the lowest poverty rate. We have no eco-zone. We have no free port. We are miles and miles away from Metro Manila. Ganon din ang Cebu. Ganon din ang Davao City. Paano kukumbinsihin yung mga tao doon na masama yung dinastiya kapag yung delivery, di hamak na mas maayos kesa sa opisyal na pamahalaan? Yun lang ang comment ko po.
Salamat, Senator Amy. At sa very helpful comment mo, naisip ko nga yung ibang mga bansa na sinasabing sila rin naman may dynasties. Pero yung isang malaking kaibahan daw sa kanila ay malalakas yung mga institusyon nila. So there are dynasties also among the general population. Pero yung mga institusyon allow that level, may meritocracy, kumbaga. So in a way nare-reward or napapanatili yung maaring ituring na dynasties, but for those na hindi talaga deserve, may check and balance, may fiscalizing, at mas may equalizing, mas yung sinasabi ni Attorney Monsod, mas may social justice aspect sa pagiging mas egalitarian naman ang politika para sa lahat, lalo na sa mga non-dynas. So I'd like to continue with the civil society resource persons, including Lente. Pasensya na sa reference dun sa isa pang hearing, but I think it's also instructive for us dito sa pagtalakay natin sa mga anti-political dynasty bills sa committee ito. Maliban po sa mga flood control projects, saan pang mga aspeto nakikita yung corruption? Halimbawa, extractive industries, social services even. Attorney Caritos?
Magandang umaga po, Chair. Siguro po kitang-kita po siya sa delivery ng social welfare programs and extractive industries. Marami na pong pag-aaral na lumabas on the link between corruption and political dynasty. At ang lagi naman pong conclusion dyan, kaya nagkakaroon ng corruption kasi walang check and balance. Kung ang mayor ay tatay ng vice mayor na nag-a-approve ng budget, wala po talagang makakapag-check niyan or wala maglalakas ng loob to monitor. So basically, that's our problem with political dynasty, especially the obese ones, kasi wala na pong check and balance at the local level. Gusto ko lang pong dagdagan or mag-comment doon sa point na tanggap ba ng mga Pilipino ang political dynasties?
Are we ambivalent?
Yes. Hindi po, Chair, eh. Kasi if you take a look at the data for unopposed positions at the local level, 2019 po, 500 positions were unopposed at the local level. 2022, 800 local positions were unopposed. 2025, it's at 1,068. Ibig sabihin po, hindi sa walang pakialam or ambivalent ang mga Pilipino, wala na lang po talaga ding tumatakbo at the local levels. And data would tell us that na pataas ng pataas ang unopposed positions at the local levels because people are really afraid or just iniisip nila ay wala naman ibang makakatakbo, makakalaban sa mga sorbo mayayamang pamilya. Second point po, Chair, just to, as we move forward with fine-tuning the definition of the political dynasty, if up to the second degree of consanguinity or affinity, what we found out based from our consultations and discussions with our youth organizations, yung pong loophole or yung tinitake advantage or strategy po, yung incumbent nagre-resign. So yung anti-dynasty na prohibition na related ka sa incumbent, hindi na po nagkikick in. So baka po kailangan i-consider po natin yon dun sa ating pag-redefine ng anti-dynasty law. Kasi tinitake advantage po yung incumbent, edi magre-resign na lang. So yun po, Chair. Magandang umaga po ulit.
Magandang umaga at salamat. But maybe a little bit more about paano nakikita yung corruption sa delivery ng mga social protection programs and maybe even on the extractive industries.
Siguro po, from our monitoring of ASR, abuse of state resources during the campaign period, what we saw was yung pong mga hindi supporters ni incumbent, hindi po supporters nung sinusuportahan ni incumbent, they removed from the list of the social welfare programs delivered or implemented, especially by the local government units. So dyan po namin nakita, and we did tatlong monitoring na po ng ESR in the elections, and we saw firsthand yung mga scholars po biglang natatanggalan ng scholarship just because hindi sila scholar na dahil natanggal na sa pwesto yung incumbent or hindi po nanalo. So we saw firsthand how the social welfare programs are really being abused, especially by the incumbent kasi sila naman po yung may access dyan, sila yung may control at share when it comes to, of course, securing their win in the elections. And we can provide the committee with a copy of our monitoring reports for the past 3 elections on the problem of ASR in our elections.
Yes, please do that through our COMSEC para makarating sa amin sa committee, through our chair, Senator King. Mas mababawasan po ba yung checks and balances kung yung pamilya, kung yung dynasty, halimbawa, parehong nasa Kongreso at sa LGU pa? Is that a potent combination?
Ako po, tumitingnan lang po ako doon sa system of government natin. It's legislative, executive, judiciary. We have 3 branches of government. It was designed that way by our framers of the Constitution to have checks and balance. So if we have relatives belonging to two branches of the government, then the check and balance in place by our framers of the Constitution, yan po yung nawawala dyan, Senator Risa, Chair.
So parang on a micro level na humihina din yung pagka-separate at co-equal branches.
Yes po, Chair.
Okay. Sige. So kahit sa intra, hindi, may legislative din ito at saka executive, may constitutional pa. Anong papel ang ginagampanan ng mga fat dynasty sa pagpapahina ng independence ng mga local checks and balances? You were starting to describe yung kapag, or was it Mr. Alvia, kapag magkakamag-anak yung magpo-propose, mag-a-approve, gagastos ng budget, may disincentive talaga na i-check and balance ang isa't isa or iwasto or singilin ang accountability. So may papel ba ang so-called fat dynasties dun sa pagpapahina ng ganyang mga checks and balances at the local level? Yes, Mr. Avia.
Totoo po yun dahil kahit nasabihin yung, nabanggit niyo na rin yung keyword, no? Institutions, no? Kung mahina yung institutions, no? May paraan, no? Na talagang saklawin, no? Ng mga dynasties nito, yung mga oversight na nangyayari. For instance, may mga cases, in fact, hindi lang mga cases, maraming nangyayaring cases na kahit na ibukas sa civil society organizations yung pagbo-monitor, no, ng governance, no, sa lugar nila, nakikita namin na i-east out kami dahil in favor of CSOs even who are made, no, up by relatives of those dynasties, no? Kunyari lang CSO sila, but in reality, sila pa rin yun. Pati yung institusyon ng pagpapalakas ng mga civil society organizations, pinapasukan na rin nila. So nawawalan talaga ng checks and balance, no? So nawawala talaga yung kalakasan, no, ng institusyon, no? So ito yung mga paraan ginagawa nila, no? Sa pag-multiple, no, positions ang hawak.
Salamat. And Attorney Caritos, earlier you were talking about some kind of disincentive for non-dynast candidates to run. So paano po inaapektuhan ng mga dynasties in general, or especially fat dynasties, yung political, electoral competition? Dinideter ba nila yung mga other qualified candidates from running?
Directly po and indirectly, Chair, from our monitoring in elections, kapag po violence is a problem in areas, yan po talaga direct intervention kasi takot ang mga tao, takot ang mga tao tumakbo kasi they will go after a violent family. And in those areas, they know that something would happen to them kapag tumakbo sila or lumaban sa family. But in areas where violent, yung mga nag-iisip tumakbo against these political families are alone or talaga mag-isa lang po or kukunti lang po sila. So the environment at the local level is not really friendly to those who are not part of political families. And again po, babalik po tayo sa data, pataas po ng pataas ang unopposed positions at the local levels. So, yan po yung hindi nawawala eh. It's increasing 500, 800, 1,000 na po in the past 3 elections.
Kitang-kita yung pagdami. Yes, Senator Amy, for your intervention.
Oo, hahabol ako ulit. Napakaraming hearing. Pasensya, apologies to our chair. Nais ko lang punahin na may mga issues na na-raise kanina nung wala pa ako. Si Senator Soto yata nabanggit yung paksa tungkol sa national versus local. Kung ito ay para lamang sa local positions or saklaw yung national. Although the argument can be made with 4 sibling pairs in the Senate, that it should apply to the Senate as well. Nevertheless, the other question that perhaps hasn't been dealt with, although there was some discussion about party list representatives, are they going to be covered by the anti-dynasty provisions as well in the intended bill? I recall that in May 2024, when I chaired this committee and we had a hearing, it was unclear whether they would be classified as national elective officials or local local officials. And we've already observed repeatedly yung switching ng mga nominees, papalit-palit ng pangalan pag nanalo. Kaya mag-a-apply rin ba dito